Welcome to part one of the 12 Steps of Gaslighting series. We're going to talk about gaslighters that exploit trust, so don't go anywhere. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Recovery TV. I appreciate you joining in for this four-part series on the 12 types of gaslighting. In this part one series, we're going to talk about gaslighters that exploit trust. But before we begin, if you're new here or you're a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so now. And don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when more videos are posted. So if you like the content we're making, this is a quick and easy way that you can support the cause. Okay, let's get back to gaslighting, or shall I say, talking about gaslighting. If you haven't watched the introductory video to this series, I really would encourage you to do so. I'll make sure to put a link right here in the cards because in that video, I help you understand a little bit more about the concept of vulnerability exploitation as it relates to gaslighting. So check that out, and I'll make sure to put a link in the description below as well. So like I said, this is part one of a four-part series. And so in this video, we are going to talk about the category of trust exploitation. So in other words, gaslighters that exploit trust. I've identified three types of gaslighters in this category: the unabashed denier, the convenient forgetter, and the muddler. And I'm going to briefly go over each one of those for the duration of this video. So before I dive into those three types, I'm going to give you a brief description on this concept of trust exploitation. I'm going to read it directly from the article that I wrote on the 12 types of gaslighting, which I will also link the PDF in the description of this video below. So feel free to download that at your convenience. Trust is an important part of any healthy couple relationship. Gaslighters seem to know this intellectually and intuitively. Thus, they will often take the opportunity to exploit that trust in an effort to keep the partner from discovering their secrets. So as I explained in the introductory video, when it comes to these vulnerabilities that are exploited, trust is something that we want to do with our partners. We want to look for reasons to trust them. And so when that trust is taken advantage of, that's when we often feel duped or foolish, or what feels like having the wool pulled over our eyes. So I'm going to do this a little differently. Since I wrote an article on the 12 types of gaslighting, I'm going to begin with reading small excerpts from that article. So let's talk about the first type in this category, the unabashed denier. This type of gaslighter exploits the trust of their partner with their ability to confidently and effortlessly deny any accusation or suspicion on behalf of the discerning party, despite the amount of evidence presented. The emotional response of shock, confusion, appall, or even outrage can create varying degrees of doubt within the discerning party. What sells the lie for this type of gaslighting is the gaslighter's adamant expressions of denial, passionate pleas for belief, and convincing conveyance of certainty. They often make declarative responses in the extreme, such as, "I would never," "You have to believe me," "How could you even suggest?" "You know me." So if this is resonating with you at all, the unabashed denier makes really good and convincing use of denial and doing it in a way that exploits the trust. So they seemingly believe their own lies, and maybe some of them do. The gaslighter's unapologetic approach to their denial is what sells the lie. It is also what is often alarming and somewhat disturbing when the gig is up and the secrets have been revealed, and the partner's reflecting on just how unashamedly this person that they love and care about not only lied to them, but made them feel like they were the crazy one. Okay, let's move on to the second one in this category, the convenient forgetter. This type of gaslighter exploits the trust of their partner by conveniently being unable to recall the details to the concern being presented to them by the discerning party. In essence, they are skilled in weaponizing memory loss. After all, how can one argue their grievance or alarming situation when the other person in question simply has no memory of it? They will often say things like, "I just can't recall. I absolutely have no memory of that. You know I don't have a good memory. If that was something I did, I think I would remember." Similarly to how the unabashed denier is better served if they first believe the lie, the convenient forgetter may have created mental or emotional roadblocks, i.e., compartmentalization, which conveniently makes it easier for them to forget. As I stated in the article, the essence of the convenient forgetter is the ability to weaponize memory loss. They truly might not remember, but when they use memory loss as a tool for gaslighting, they often don't want to remember because it doesn't serve them to remember. It serves them better to not remember. And how can you argue memory loss, right? What I think you have to really pay attention to here is the level of alarm that you're bringing to their attention and their dismissal by just saying they have a bad memory. If somebody you care about is bringing something alarming to your attention, especially if it has to do with sketchy behavior on your part, wouldn't you think that person might want to do some investigating to try to help themselves remember so they can at least present something to dispel any beliefs or notions that they've been engaged in any type of wrongdoing or secret behavior? So simply saying, I don't remember that without any effort to try to remember should cause some level of alarm, in my opinion. And now the third and final type in the trust exploitation category, the muddler. A muddler isn't to be confused with a meddler. The Cambridge Dictionary defines a meddler as a person who tries to change or have an influence on things that are not their responsibility. Now, the Cambridge Dictionary doesn't have a formal definition for muddler like it does for meddler, but it does have a definition for muddle, which is an untidy or confused state. So you might think of a muddler as someone who tends to create untidy or confused states. Here's how I write it in the article. This is one that is skilled in shifting the focus off of themselves and onto something else or even someone else. They are a master of distraction. The shift or distraction experience can range from subtle to abrupt. The gaslighters will at times use tactics such as answering a question with a question, excessive use of hypotheticals, or even spewing word salad responses, often leaving the other party frustrated, confused, and uncertain how to respond. If your mind doesn't immediately turn to someone in your life that might be doing this, you might be thinking of politics. You might be thinking of news interviews where the pundits ask politicians a question and they can't give straight answers. They just answer the question with word salad, or they answer the question with a question. And at times they make excessive use of hypotheticals that seemingly have nothing to do with the concern at hand. In politics, this might be referred to as pivoting or filibustering, but for relationships, I refer to it as muddling, which again, as we would expect in gaslighting, leaves people feeling like they're going crazy or they're the crazy ones. So we've done several videos of gaslighting on this channel, and we've created a playlist. So I would encourage you to check out the playlist. I'll put a link to it right here. Because if you're asking the question of what should I do about this, you might find some of these other videos to be helpful. So up next is part 2, where I'll discuss with you the 3 types of gaslighters under the category of love exploitation. So I'll see you back here next time. Thanks.